Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to begin this video by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Racha, Kodash, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Lord's elect, beginning with the 144,000. This is a Ratzazah from the Great Millstone GMS Atlanta camp. Once again, all right, wanted to come back with another quick video on the article that recently resurfaced. This article actually goes back to June 2025. Okay, and the article I have here is from Breitbart.com, and the headline it says Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro claims he is a real Jew, unlike Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu. All right, which Nicolas Maduro is recently and currently in the news following the basically the invasion by Trump into Venezuela, where they captured this guy, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, if I'm not mistaken, and Trump essentially basically took over Venezuela, you know, like Debo, his brothers say, and got that oil, you know, which ultimately, you know, what it was over. You know, Trump wants that oil. But so that's why this article resurfaced, since he's hot in the news right now. But this is, you know, a clear statement. And he's saying that he's a real Jew, and essentially calling out the, you know, he called out the small hats over there in the land of Israel, which we know that they're not the real people. All right, we are the real people of the scriptures, the real Israelites, Hebrew Israelites, blacks, Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. All right, this guy here, I believe he's his father. I did some brief research on his family. His father is you know, the so-called Latin. All right, he's one of the Latin tribes, which Venezuela, that would fall under the tribe of Asher. You look at that particular part of South America. You got Venezuela, you got Colombia, we got Colombia, Venezuela, you got Brazil right there. All right, that's all the tribe of Asher. You know, so yeah, this, you know, so he's right, he's correct. Okay, he is a real Jew and a real Israelite, and the people over there in the land of Israel currently is occupying that land are a bunch of goddamn phonies, man. Now I'm gonna jump down to the point. It's a pretty lengthy article. For time's sake, you could check it out for yourself. You know, just punch in that headline. But when you jump down to the actual quote, it says, right, this first paragraph here, it says, quote, "I am a Christian, but Jewish blood runs through my veins. Sephardic blood. From the authentic Jews of the 12 tribes, those of Moses, those Jews of the 12 tribes who are not the ones in charge today in the state of Israel. Those who govern today under Netanyahu are not authentic Jews. He is a hodgepodge who comes from Poland," end quote. Maduro said. See that? So yeah, there you go. Plain and simple. Now you do the history on the Sephardic Jews. Those were basically Jakes that were living in Spain and Portugal that eventually were dispersed. They migrated to different lands, I believe, like North Africa. You could do the history on that, on the history. But yeah, those essentially were Jakes. All right. So there you go. He basically said, look, I'm a real Israelite of the 12 tribes. Okay, in which the small hats or the tiny tops, as brothers call them, the fake phony ones over there in the land of Israel, never really speak on the 12 tribes. You know, they never speak of Gad and Reuben and Issachar, Zebulun. They only focus on, Judah. All right, in which the real Judites are the so-called blacks, the so-called Negroes. So, yeah, this is more statements being made to show and prove that they're not the people. Okay, a bunch of phonies, imposters, thieves, you know. And yeah, this guy basically called them out. You know, which probably is why they went in there and took over. You know, because he was basically saying too much. But again, this goes back to last year, right? This is back in June when he made the statement. Now I want to get a couple of scriptures. I think that was yeah, I think that was the point. That was the main point. That short paragraph there, that short quote. Now this is Ezekiel 36:5. All right, which tells you that eventually the Edomites or the Idumeans would take over the land at some point. This is Ezekiel 36:5. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. Idumea is the Greek name or word for Edom, the Edomites, which today would be you so-called white people. All right, in which the so-called Jews, or as we call them, the small hats over in the land of Israel, currently, they're all Edomites. All right. It says, which have appointed here's the point, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Right. So currently the Idumeans, they occupy the land of Israel right now. All right. Even though you have specks of actual Israelites there, but for the most part, the government set up, right? Benjamin Netanyahu, he's an Edomite. He's a heathen. You know, the people under him, essentially the population as a whole, but a majority, they're all Edomites, man. They're right, the little hats, which actually are the of Amalek. All right. It says, prophesied therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, that thus saith the Lord power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I have lifted up my hand. Surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear their shame. But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come. For behold, I am for you, and I will turn you, and ye shall be tilled and sown, and I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even for all of it, and the city shall be inhabited, and the ways shall be builded. Right, so the Lord's going to eventually restore the land of Israel back to his rightful owners, which is his people, you so-called Negroes, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know, which Nicholas Maduro knows that. He knows that he's an Israelite. He knows his family is other tribes, which he said in that statement. So yeah, eventually the prophecy, the Lord's going to restore the land of Israel back to his people, and he's going to basically raise us up as a nation and kick the heathens out of there who currently occupy that land. All right, let's go. I think that was the point on that. Right, so let's go from there to Revelation 2:9, in which, to clarify, this verse is really talking about wicked Israelites. All right, you got, those Israelites who are true and sincere, that believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, excuse me. But then you got those who are not, but we use this too to apply to the small hats in the land of Israel currently. This Revelation 2:9, it says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Right, speaking about us. All right. Yeah, we go, we doing the work. We know, the Lord knows our situation and our current state. All right, poverty, but it says we're rich. All right, rich in what? Rich in faith, rich in knowledge, rich in understanding, rich in hope. All right, and it says, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Right, you can apply this today to the fake, the fake phony imposters in Atlanta, Israel right now. All right, the small hats, man. They say they the Jews, they say they the people, but they're not. All right, going back to the article. All right, what he said, man. All right, those those who govern today under Netanyahu are not authentic Jews. See that? Yeah, they're not authentic Jews, but they are Edomites. See? So there you go. Which again, this is really talking about other Israelites who are, you know, basically not the true worshipers or the true elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and work evil. But again, you can apply this to the fake small hats also. All right, so let's go from there. What's the one that says a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod? I think that's in let's see. I know this in Zechariah. All right, this is Zechariah 9. And getting to the point, verse 6. It says, and a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. Right. And we see that today. A bastard, which will be Amalek, the Edomites, are dwelling in Ashdod. Ashdod is a city in Israel. All right. So that's what you have right now. You have bastards dwelling in our land. We just read and showed in Ezekiel 36 chapter where the Idumeans would take the land of Israel into their hands. All right, and they're not supposed to be there. The only reason why they're there is because we went off as a nation, and the Lord basically kicked us out of the land, and we were essentially pushed out into various lands and where we'll be slaves and captives. But as we also just read too, that what the Lord eventually give the land back to us and raise us up, you know, which essentially is going to be in the kingdom. Which is also how you know, pursuant to Isaiah the 2nd chapter, the Israelites not supposed to be in the land right now. All right, because why? If they were truly the people and they were there in the land, the earth is supposed to be at peace, at rest. All right, Trump would have never went into Venezuela and bombed them. This was supposed to be peace on earth, right? No weapons, no missiles, no wars. All right, that woman in Minnesota that got shot by the ICE agents, that wouldn't have happened. All right, matter of fact, let's end it on that. Right, yeah, a bastard should dwell in the city of Ashdod, man. This is Isaiah 2 and 1. It says the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. Right, Judah and Jerusalem is the whole nation of Israel. Judah represents Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and Jerusalem represents the rest of the tribes, the northern tribes. So this is the whole nation of Israel. And this is a future prophecy. Verse 2, it says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's Yahweh Shem Yahshua's house shall be established in the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills. And all nations shall flow unto it. Right. So this is the kingdom of heaven. The Lord raising up his government, which is likened into a mountain. All right. That's going to be elevated over all nations. Verse 3, it says, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, to the house of the power of God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Hey, that's not happening right now. All right, everybody supposed to be going to Israel, Jerusalem, to learn of the commandments, learn of the truth, but that's not happening. Verse 4, it says, and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. See that? So there's not supposed to be any wars on the earth if the Lord's house was truly established and the people of the Most High were in the land. See that? We don't see that. We see wars, growing on the earth. We see more uprisings, more bombings, more missiles, being developed and tested, more death. See that? So yeah. So what does this show us and tell us? That again, those are not the people. All right. Just to back up his statement, his quote. They're not the authentic Jews, man. Prophecy shows that. So, I just want to do a quick video on this article, all right, which again goes back to last year, resurfaced, following his recent news with this guy, all right, and he's a 100% correct. We do his background, is check his lineage, all right. This dude's he's an actual Israelite of the Latin tribes. So yeah, man, just more info, more proof to back up the scriptures and back up our claims that, yeah, there's phonies in the land, right? Edomites that's basically cosplaying as us, all right, and that we essentially are the real Israelites. So, with that, Lord willing, you was edified by this video. Like I said, you can check this article out, on your own. Just punch in that title on Breitbart. All right, Lord willing, you was edified by this video, and it's on to the next one. Shalom.